This is a Tour of Love, an international event, 36 hours streaming live on the E360 TV platform, beaming the vibe of love around the world to audiences of all ages, all nations, with the intention of changing the way cancer is done. This is the CB4L Buddies Network, and we are healing through connections. So get on the bus, get ready, and let's welcome the Tour of Love. The Tour of Love welcomes Melissa Manchester. This double Grammy winner joins a long list of talent on E360 TV. For 36 hours straight, they're all coming together to support those experiencing the impact of cancer and to lift the spirit of humanity with love at a time we need it the most.
The eyes of love.
Gorgeous.
Darling.
I'm Edith from New Jersey.
And I'm Endora from Malibu.
And we're on the Tour of Love. Endora.
I just had a little bit of work done. What do you think?
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
No one will ever know. I got an estimate to get my eyebrows raised. It was only 137 stitches. What do you think?
The holidays are coming up, and I love the holidays, I do, but I'm not so much for the office parties.
Yes, too much eggnog.
And then the next day, you gotta go look for another job.
Yes. Darling, the only thing my husband and I have in common is that we were married on the same day. Who needs them? Although they're rather good for taking out the trash.
I should have known my husband was going to be lazy. The day that we got married, his mother said, I didn't lose a husband, I gained a couch. And modern conveniences.
Who needs them, I said.
All right, and welcome to hour 22 of the CB4L annual telethon, 36 hours streaming live here, all in support of Chemo Buddies for Life. And this is the primary fundraiser for Chemo Buddies for Life, and we're so happy that you're joining us. We are in the second half of this whole 36 hours. We have another awesome guest here today. I want to go ahead and bring them up on the screen. We have David Dashinger and Tamara Green from the Loving Meditations app. Welcome.
Hey, Kim. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so glad to be on the Tour of Love.
Exactly. Yeah, it's awesome to have you guys here. I love in particular what you do. And so I think actually we have, and Barbara has been so phenomenal in the back end of things, helping out with all of our links and everything. And Barbara, how about we go ahead and show their commercial right now? And then we'll get into our conversation. And we might actually have Tamara with us.
Me the answer, and now my head is spinning. He said I'm leaving with cancer, and my journey is just beginning. I'm stressed out and afraid. I have cried and I have prayed. to quiet my mind and be still. Take a deep breath and just chill. I put in my earbuds and decompress. Touch play on the app to ease my stress. I'm choosing peaceful relaxation with loving meditations. I'm loving meditations.
I just love that. I love that commercial. And Tamara, welcome Tamara for joining us, Tamara Hunter.
Hey, Tamara.
Hi, guys. It's been so long, but it's so good to see you. And thank you for joining the Tour of Love. And I have always loved what you do. And that commercial is such a good commercial. You know, I'm with you, Kim. I love it.
They have so many great commercials. I mean, that's just kind of the opening one that sort of highlights the app that they have created. And I am looking forward to learning more about that. Tamara, shall I go ahead and begin with some?
Please do.
Okay, so I of course know some of your story, David and Tamara, but will you go ahead and just tell the audience, you know, how do you connect to cancer and that commercial, the app, all of it?
Sure. Well, the whole journey started in the most unexpected way, where I was going to get a haircut, walking around feeling healthy as an ox, and the barber noticed a lump on my neck. And when he pointed it out, I looked in the mirror and I was shocked because there was this like walnut-sized lump there. So that started the whole process of diagnostics, tests, biopsies, scans, doctor's appointments, and led up to the words that no one ever wants to hear, and that's you have stage 4 cancer. And it had spread from my mouth to the lymph nodes in my neck, and they fast-tracked me to start getting chemo and radiation immediately. Actually, as a matter of fact, it was almost exactly 7 years ago, and even though it was Thanksgiving weekend, they're like, we can't wait. You're going to start treatment immediately. So that was my crash course into the world of cancer. Of course, there's no guidebook or manual for how to cope with this. And it's not just my journey as a patient, but it was Tamara's journey also as a caregiver, and then our friends and family by proxy. We're all on this journey together. And of course, we meet people along the way. I met some amazing people who were in chemo with me, and some amazing doctors and nurses. And so it's such a community of people going through this experience. And it's certainly a roller coaster, but having those people along and being there in different ways, showing up and supporting, for me, were the most uplifting parts of that whole experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as his caregiver, you know, David is right. I certainly went on my own journey. It turned out to be a journey of real self-discovery. And, you know, starting off so stressed out, like, what the heck is going on? I mean, it's a trauma. It's a trauma for the family when somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, right? And 4 days before David was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, our 13-year-old son was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And, you know, he was in and out. I kept picking him up from the nurse's office at school. You know, he had a migraine, he had this, he had that. And finally, it turned out to be Lyme. Thank God he's good. And thank God David has been cancer-free now for 6 years. Yeah. So, yay, we're all doing really, really good. Yay. But for sure, the caregivers, and that's why we have an app. And there is now a guidebook for those.
It's the manual that we need.
It's our manual. Live Calm with Cancer. David and I wrote it together from a patient and caregiver perspective, and how we actually got through with calm. We really did. It wasn't calm at first. We were not sleeping. We were not, we were very stressed out. And then we began using the tools that we have been using on and off throughout our life at that point, which was gratitude and meditation and listening to things that gave us inspiration, and that really made a difference, so much so that on the day that we were in the oncologist office, well, you tell the story. You tell the story.
Well, this is the day that you hope for and pray for when you're diagnosed with cancer, and it's the day when you go in, they've treated you, I had major surgery, and fast forward to the end of all that, and go into the doctor's office for your little meeting, and he finally says, you're clear, stage 4 cancer. And so, of course, we're celebrating, and he's like, but I want to comment that you really got through this crazy, intense medical procedure really easily, because a lot of people are hospitalized from the kind of treatment you had. And he's like, how did you do it? And so we said, look, we just, I brought mindfulness, affirmations, different kinds of meditative music to chemo. We did yoga, stretching, and other body movement together. And he lit up. He said, I want that for all my patients. And that's when we had our aha moment. We got to pay this forward. This is becoming our mission, to take these tools that have worked for us and to share them with other people who are experiencing cancer, whether they are caregivers, patients, or thrivers.
Wow. And so what was the span of time between when you were diagnosed and you got that clear?
Yeah, I was diagnosed in November of 2013 and cleared around March of 2014. So about 5-6 months.
Wow, that sounds really quick. Tamara Hunter, do you have thoughts on that?
Which Tamara?
Tamara Hunter.
That does seem really quick, but I remember hearing this the very first time I met you and thinking the very thing that right now many are thinking, and that was anything and all things are possible. And you have to believe, you have to know, you have to really, really down to, your toenails, every cell in your body, you need to believe in what it is that you're going for. If it's your treatment, if it's the full package, whatever it is, you got to completely go there and immerse yourself. And so when you think of that and some of the other stories that I know now and have witnessed, even in our own organization, it seems kind of in alignment, because others that have received, that if you don't in that period of time, you won't receive your miracle, if that's what is going to happen, because the beauty of it.
It's
the beauty
the total
of it.
immersion part is really key.
Yeah,
and that's something that we did. We not only sort of turned over the medical part to the doctors and technicians and nurses, but we also embraced all the other possibilities that we felt would work for us, like going for gratitude walks, like being more mindful, and by eating as healthy as possible during that process. And the one thing that I think can never be understated, and this is for everyone who knows anybody who's going through cancer, the power of love is unbelievable when it comes to someone who's experiencing an illness like that. And you don't have to be a spouse or even a family member, but just as a friend, to show up, be present, and to support whoever it is that's going through this difficult time. And that could just be sitting with them. It could just be sitting there in silence. But that is some of the most powerful, I think, the powerful healing that we can experience, at least we did in our journey, is that love. And it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, because I agree with you, Tamara. I love your name, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And back at you.
Yeah, thank you. it is about belief and immersion. But and this was part of my self-discovery as a caregiver during that time, it's also, for me anyway, it was about surrendering. So surrendering the, I'm not going to be okay if this happens, like I started off that way. If something happens to David, I'm going to be so distraught and I won't get over it. It's like interesting where our minds go. And then I realized, that's really interesting. What interesting things I'm saying right there. So let me use this time as an opportunity to really be not do, but be, in a different space. So part of that was presence, which David talked about love, presence. I was so mindful, okay, how can I be present right now in this moment? And it was everything from washing the dishes and feeling the water run on my hands and the temperature and the soapy, whatever, to driving David to treatment and feeling the steering wheel in my hand, to just being with him and just, there was just no other space than where I was in that moment. So that, and I'll call it surrender because I'm not even sure what else to call it, but it was a surrender into the whole thing. And at the, by the time David got the "you are cancer free," wonderful statement from the oncologist, I realized that for me, it was a real letting go of attachment of how things needed to be in order for me to be okay. Now I have a term for it. I call it conditional living. I started off living kind of conditionally, and now much more unconditionally. It's okay. It's okay. Like I'm just here present with whatever is showing up. And it really was transformative for me.
What was that like for you, making that shift of being conditional to being unconditional and surrendering? Like,
yeah.
What was that like?
I even remember the moment that I had awareness about it. And David and I, we almost at least 2 or 3 times a week, we would go on what we refer to as a gratitude walk. It would be about an hour. David was amazing. He's going through this brutal treatment. He's losing crazy amounts of weight, radiation, chemo. He doesn't feel good, but he was determined to move his body every day. And according to the oncologist, that makes a huge difference. So we would go on these walks, and it was freezing cold. We would get very, very bundled up. It was during the winter. And back and forth we would go, well, I'm grateful for, our amazing kids. Well, I'm grateful we have amazing insurance. And back and forth we would go. And at the end of that hour, we would feel completely uplifted, right? And deeply grateful. But one of these times during our walk, we were having very open conversation about, well, there's a possibility I'm not going to make it. This is stage 4 cancer. This is serious. Besides the chemo and the radiation, he was being set up to have major surgery. And it was in that moment that I realized I'm so present with the whole process. I'm not even attached to him. He doesn't have to live in order for me to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay. And of course, I wanted him to live. And of course, I would have been, very sad if he didn't live. But in that moment, I knew every cell in my being was saying, it's okay. Even if that is what ends up happening, it's okay. I'm okay. Everything's okay. All is well. It was just such a sense of peace. So I guess it went from kind of not feeling okay and very anxious about what may be happening in the future, that, what if he does die kind of thing, to just, I I don't know, peace, just internal peace about it.
That is so awesome. Thank you for going into detail about that, because I really got that piece of you were no longer kind of jumping ahead into the future. And I think the word space really sums it up for me. You said you were practicing being so present in the space that it seems like you just collapsed that down into only present. And then there was no space to worry.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Exactly it. That's a nice way of putting it, Kim. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so we have another video for you, but first, before we show that, will you tell everyone just a little bit more? You've got this app which has so many awesome features. It goes beyond just other meditation apps. It's very unique. And then you do these other things called meditation concerts. Will you talk about the two?
Sure. Well, in the midst of the COVID year that we've had, we wanted to create something new that would be another way for people to de-stress and kind of find some peace and calm. And we realized we have so many amazing collaborators that have been with us on the app. And of course, we can't always get together with them. Some of them are in other parts of the world. So we got into the mode of let's do something on a virtual platform and created Peaceful Oasis Live, which is a meditation concert series where we bring on amazing facilitators who do guided visualization. Some of them they just talk about interesting and pertinent things that will help us kind of like look at other possibilities in the world. And then we create live music with it in our studio here in New York. And so we've been doing it about once every week or 2 weeks. And it's been an amazing project. We feel like it's really addressing a need out there where people are just so stressed out if they've got cancer and then COVID related fears on top of that, or even if there's no cancer in the mix, but just the COVID related fears and all the other things that are going on for us collectively. This is our way of trying to share something really positive and uplifting. So we created that Peaceful Oasis Live.
I think it's awesome. I was able to check it out before. How about we go ahead and share that now? That video.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome to Peaceful Oasis Live, the Loving Meditations concert series, where we feature masters of meditation, musicians, artists, poets, and storytellers. In each episode, we take you deep into a state of relaxation with our guests as they share inspiring activations or meditations performed with expansive music. Sign up for our newsletter to get upcoming events and inspirations delivered to your inbox. Go to peacefuloasislive.com to receive event news and to view past episodes. We appreciate you, our viewers, and your wonderful comments and suggestions supporting our mission for peace and calm. Hi, welcome to Peaceful Oasis Live Meditation Concert. I'm Tamara Green, and this is David Dashinger of Loving Meditations. And today we're going to do a very important exercise because when diagnosed with cancer, there is a tremendous amount of anxiety. So this meditation is called Overcoming Canxiety, which is cancer anxiety. And this is great to do before or after any kind of test or anything diagnostic, treatment, scans. And this is also great for during your survivorship because the scans don't stop even in survivorship, right? Yes, exactly. We're very well-versed in stage 4 cancer, as David had stage 4 cancer, and I was his caregiver, so we know what it's like out there. Whether you are sitting or lying down, allow yourself a few moments to get comfortable. With curiosity, notice which parts of your body are in contact with the chair, the bed, or the floor. Become aware of how your body feels in this moment. Become the quiet observer of your experience without judgment. And take a few moments to observe and to breathe in and out, smooth and slow. Breathing smooth and slow, put your awareness on your physical body and become conscious of all the extraordinary systems of your body. Notice your heart beating. Feel your lungs expanding and contracting. And tap into the energy of the trillion cells that make up your body. Moving your attention down to the cellular level, become curious about the abundant life energy inside your cells. Admire them with reverence and gratitude for all the miraculous functions they perform every second of every day. Now expand out from the cellular level, feeling calmer and more present. Letting go of expectations, judgments, conclusions, and limitations, allow yourself to say yes to the now, to this present moment. Without judgment, become aware of thoughts that are negative or not helpful. Maybe thoughts about your past or your future. Continue letting go of expectations, judgments, conclusions, and limitations, and continue saying yes to this moment. With a sense of curiosity, observe any fearful or negative thoughts as they appear, without judging them as good or bad. Simply let them float in and allow them to float out. Just as a librarian might do when organizing books, as you observe each thought or belief coming into this space of your mind, simply label it. If you recognize a thought as fearful or negative, label it as not helpful and set it aside into a stack. You may recognize a thought that you picked up from someone else. So label it as not mine and put it aside into another stack. If you recognize a positive, helpful thought, such as admiration for a loved one or appreciation for something pleasant, label it as helpful and allow that thought to assist you to feel more positive. Continue to observe thoughts and label them as not helpful, not mine, or helpful. You are totally in control of this space. Later, if you observe a fearful or worrisome thought or belief coming into your mind space, you can remember to label it as not helpful and choose another thought that will help you to feel better. As you continue to breathe smooth and slow, feeling even more present, expand out even further. Take a moment to calmly observe the experience of living with cancer. What aspects of this experience can you turn over to the doctors, the nurses, the technicians? And what aspect of this experience do you have control over? Gently and easily become aware that you have control over your breath. Become aware that you have control over your inner peace and serenity. And become aware that you can change which thoughts you focus on. Continuing to breathe smooth and slow, feeling even more relaxed and expanded. Notice that you are a participant in this health journey. So instead of resisting it, allow yourself to appreciate that diagnosis and treatment are parts of the process which move you forward on your journey. As a participant, you have the power to choose where you put your focus. You can choose to put your attention on thoughts that make you feel better. As you move through this experience, remind yourself that you have personal power to control your breathing smooth and slow, as you have been doing in this meditation. To choose inner peace and serenity, as you have been doing in this meditation. And to shift your focus to positive thoughts, as you have been doing in this meditation.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. I love seeing you guys create the music together. I love seeing David do his thing. And I also love Tamara. And I guess this goes right back to what you were saying earlier, but I noticed it even before today. You are so present with the meditator, and that's powerful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's I want to brag on David here. Many people don't know that he's twice nominated, Grammy-nominated composer and engineer. So he's amazing, and it's just always such a joy to create with him. So I enjoyed watching.
Go ahead, David.
No, it speaks to this joke that we have. It's like, how could a social worker and a musician create something together, right? And this is really like the platform that we're able to play on and be creative. And also, what's beautiful, what we love about it is that it's something that we're offering out there to help people through some of the rough times.
Let's talk about some of those unique things you have on your app, because I think the people who are either experiencing cancer for themselves right now, or they know someone who is, are really going to like to hear how your app is very unique and can help them through their journey.
Yeah, we have dozens and dozens of meditations and activations, which are, of course, portable. You can take the app anywhere, and that's something that I wish I had had during chemo, because I would have had it, my earbuds in and listening to it during treatment. You're so much downtime, and so we like to offer something to people to use during that downtime for a constructive purpose. And what we have on the app is meditations for sleep. We have one called Scanxiety, which is similar to the one you just showed, which is a little more specific to the scans and some of the stress and really high levels of anxiety we can have before, during, and after a scan. We have a whole series of meditations in Spanish, and we have some of them are just visually beautiful that will kind of take you to a different place. And we have what we call the virtual waiting room, which is, we spend so much time waiting for appointments. Now it's not so much in the doctor's waiting room, but sometimes it's in a car, it's outside the building, it's in our home waiting for the virtual visit with the doc. So we have the virtual waiting room, which is a completely free feature on the app.
That's awesome. So what kind of response have you been getting from people? I know you have a really awesome, I think like 2-minute video where some of the people have provided testimonials of how it's helped them, but will you share with us, what the feedback is that you're getting?
Sure. Some people have told us that, we have one specifically for chemo. You listen to the meditation before you get chemo. And people have told us that they actually have less side effects when they listen to it, especially a couple of days before they get the chemo, or they just continuously, listen on a daily basis while they're getting chemo. So the Scanxiety one, I've heard a number of people say, wow, I almost went to sleep. I was so anxious before, and then I started listening to the meditation and actually almost fell asleep, just doing that technique. Not that you can take the device in with you during the scan, but they just had it, in their mind, so they were able to kind of just visualize and do it on their own. So we've heard a lot of really nice things, doctors saying, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it because you're doing better. You're doing great. We've heard that kind of thing too. So it's just this is our mission. We're really passionate about helping people get through probably the most awful, challenging time of their life. And it's for the family as well, for caregivers as well. So we're just so pleased as punch when we hear these wonderful testimonials for people.
That's awesome. Well, and David earlier, so Chemo Buddies, is all about pairing people up so they don't go through their cancer journey alone. And something I've come to know is that the community is not just of the Chemo Buddies community is not just of people who actually have been diagnosed, but like you mentioned, caregivers and other people who want to join in and support and lend a hand and all of that. And David, it sounded like you had a pretty good support system. Is that what was your support system like when you went through it?
Right. Well, of course, the highest level of support came from my beautiful, loving wife, who was there 1,000%, and that was huge. And then everyone else who's in in your life at that point, family, friends, coworkers. I'm a career firefighter, and the guys in my fire department union were amazing in so many different ways. So the thing that's interesting is, everybody, when you find out someone you know or love has cancer, you want to do something, right? You want to do something to help them, or give them something, or food, or it's kind of a difficult situation to be in, because sometimes we don't know what can we do to help this person. I know people showed up for me and wanted to give me or gift me stuff that I really didn't have too much interest in. And the things that were the most meaningful were just someone sitting there with me, in my living room, and just hanging out and just being there, and shifting focus from going inward into like that dark place where we can easily go, to just being in the presence of a loving friend or a family member.
That's beautiful. Well, and it was so fitting that you guys mentioned the power of love earlier, because Chemo Buddies has a fantastic commercial. I don't know which one it is. If Barbara knows which one it is, that has the clip of Tamara's doctor, who also talks about just the power of love and being with supportive people. That might be good for us to show in a moment here.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a Chemo Buddy for life.
We are a Buddies Network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are Chemo Buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for life.
Healing through connections.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. Wow.
It is. And that's Tamara Hunter's actual doctor that's in that.
Very
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the connection. And I know Tamara can speak to this because she, among all the things she does run a cancer caregiver support group. But if you become friends with or buddies with another cancer thriver or cancer patient, it's a connection that's unlike any other, because we have this shared experience, even though we may have different diagnosis and different treatment. I know all the cancer folks that I've met who have been through on the cancer journey. It's an instant connection. There's like, you don't have to explain it. You don't have to talk about certain things. It's just it's a given. So the Chemo Buddies concept is so well needed and essential to everyone, especially those who don't have a lot of family or friend support system. This is the kind of thing that would help them immensely.
Definitely. Well, and we still have, let's see, we're on hour 22. We're going to 36. We still have 14 more hours. Yeah, it's been going strong. Lots of variety and awesomeness. And I'm so glad you guys were able to join us live on such short notice. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, we're not done yet, but I want to thank you.
Oh, thanks for inviting us, Kim. It's such a pleasure. And of course, we've met Tamara in person, Tamara Hunter. Hi, Tamara. And we had a blast when we met you in San Diego. So it's a great way to fast forward into the where our missions are at in 2020.
And it's very interesting to think about it, because it was a few years ago that we met, and how important it is that our missions are going strong, and we're positioned like we are for this period of time. And when Kim mentioned your names and what it is you're doing, and I'm like, how wonderful. I know them and I love them and I know what they're doing. And so thank you. I'm going to put myself down from the line again, and I'm excited to watch this.
So yes, this is
I'm dedicating my life to help those touched by cancer. I hope to help you, a friend or a loved one. Now, I've had an amazing career in the music business, 2 Grammy nominations, and I'm a career fire lieutenant. But in 2013, I was getting my hair cut. The barber noticed a lump on my neck. Now, I thought it was nothing. It turned out to be stage 4 cancer. During my cancer treatment, I turned to meditation, mindful exercises, and breath work to help deal with the daily stress and anxiety and worry. Today, I'm happy to report I'm a cancer survivor and I'm cancer-free. It's my desire to help others going through that same journey, so my wife Tamara and I created Loving Meditations. We have music, guided imagery, and mindful exercises that are very relaxing to help people get grounded and find peace. We invite you to check out our free app at calmcancerstress.com, and we have some specials there as well. Thanks, and have a peaceful day.
Oops, you're muted there, Kim.
Thank you. I was just saying, I love that you have the Spanish subtitle there at the bottom too. That was really a nice touch.
Yeah, the Spanish community is, there's not very much out there for them. And we, well, David, you have a very special connection with Spanish community. Why don't you talk about that for a second?
I was blessed for several years in my music career as a recording engineer to travel to Mexico and Spain and Argentina and work with many, many artists from Latin America who also came to New York or Miami. And so I really loved their culture, their songs, their music, their ways of relating to each other. And so it's always stayed with me. And one of the things that I really wanted to make sure we had on our app, and we've also done it on Peaceful Oasis Live, is to share meditations in Spanish, and sometimes they're split between Spanish and English, so that those who are only Spanish speaking can benefit from some of the amazing facilitators that we've collaborated with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know we have another commercial that I really want to be able to share with everyone that's specifically about the virtual waiting room you mentioned earlier. And here we go.
Introducing the Loving Meditations Virtual Waiting Room. This free feature supports a more positive patient experience in these unprecedented times. Whether you're waiting outside for your doctor, sitting patiently at home prior to your remote appointment, or in an actual reception area, waiting can be a very stressful experience, and times can escalate from minutes to hours. Here's how to elevate your wait. Download the free Loving Meditations app, go to playlists, and select the virtual waiting room channel. You'll find powerful videos that can help you easily shift into a space of calm presence. Step into an oasis of calm in the Loving Meditations virtual waiting room. Get it now at virtualwait.me.
I just think that's the coolest. We had to share that.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, waiting is a big part of cancer, not only treatment, but when you're getting diagnosed. After you're done with treatment and you have to keep going back for scans and appointments and blood draws, it's so much time in that waiting room, and that's where the mind can start to get super active, and we start getting anxious and worrying, get stressed out, like what's going to happen. So we wanted to have something that to kind of take you away from that.
Yeah, well, I think it's very creative how you've created certain categories for your app that are very unique to people on the cancer journey. So, and Carol, thank you for putting that in the comments, virtualwait.me. Awesome.
Yeah,
well, go ahead.
The thing is, there's also that downtime. As a caregiver, you're often sitting with your loved one who's getting chemo, and that takes hours. So one of the cool features about the waiting room, virtual waiting room, is that it's mindful messages that comes on the screen. So it'll ask you things like, what are you grateful for right now? Or what are 3 things that you love about yourself? Or maybe it's an inspirational quote. So we had a lot of fun creating it. And of course his stunning music. So.
Very cool. Well, I want to take a moment. I know our hour is winding down. I do want to just remind everyone to definitely go to cb4l.org and definitely donate. We're not shy about saying that on in this telethon, because that is what this is all about. I know Tamara talks about, pretty much everyone that you're seeing contribute to the telethon is an unpaid volunteer. And so the donations that come through the telethon and of course other activities throughout the year really do help Chemo Buddies for Life. And so yeah, I want to remind everybody to definitely go to cb4l.org and donate. And I know Tamara has been offering, Tamara Hunter has been offering some copies of her new book, Mastering Your Mountains, for people who are donating. So want to get a reminder for that. See, there we go.
Yes, featuring Tamara L. Hunter, and there are others in here. It was Jennifer Baker, Success GPS founder, is the main author, or and then Susan Birch is the publisher, and so Hawaii Publishing is and we did take this to #1, and so we were very proud of that. Thank you. And majority of the stories are stories of people mastering our mountains that have been affected by cancer. And so I think it was really appropriate for this give-a-thon. In fact, this is a 2-year project, and because it got put on the shelf, and we put 2 projects together, and we did it in time so that we could have these out for the Tour of Love as something that we can offer for those that want to be involved with the Tour of Love and all the proceeds. Again, like Kim is saying, not one person, not myself, no one is paid. We are all volunteers. This is strictly for the community. Everything we do is for the community. And so please, 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 we have quite a few people, and I have to now go in and see if the 5 have been taken for $25, and so now they're going up to $50. Because we only have so many that I had coming from the publisher, and once they're gone, I don't know that we'll be able to get any more back before Christmas. I mean, of course we can get more back, but before Christmas. And I do believe for the right people that this book, and there's an NFL player, and his story is different, but there's some really cool stories in there. And anybody that knows Susan Birch knows her story as a cancer warrior mother. Well, her daughter now, the daughter that was in St. Jude's and Hats and Hair from Kids That Care, her daughter is a survivor, and her daughter is one of the authors in the book. And so I'm really proud of what we were able to put together. It was very thoughtful. It wasn't just slammed together, 2-year project and multiple edits. Something that we can, and there's a legacy piece in there. There's a husband and wife pair, and he was doing well, and then he got sick with something else, and then he ended up passing. And his stories from Facebook were compiled for his chapter, and then her chapter is in there too. And her chapter is beautiful. It is really about mastering our mountains, and so is hers. And so I'm proud to be a part of this program and this project.
Awesome. So the donation is $50 right now.
50, and you know what, guys? Every single penny is going to take this out there to further it throughout the world, and that is the goal now. We're pretty solid in the US. We're getting there in Canada, starting to be UK. In fact, we've got one of our UK guys just came into the green room right now. And yet there are so many areas in the world, and David and Tamara, when you start talking about things that are going to help us with translation and such, with technical, that can be where you start running into some costs, and we don't want language to be an issue. And also, we do have programs for our people, for our buddies, and we want to be able to take more of them out there, because we are seriously making a difference. We are seeing miracles. And we know we can see so many more. And so please, we are giving wonderful, I believe, gifts for a tax. You get a tax deduction. And for many people, it's almost like it's a wash to get a present, and you're making a difference in someone's life. So please.
Awesome. Yeah, just to reaffirm, any and all donations are acceptable, but for the $50, you would also get Tamara Hunter's new book. So that's what that is.
And signed. And I will take the time to do something special. You know, if you have a special message that you want for someone that you feel that they could use some humor, hope, heart hugs, and a whole lot of love, we'll make sure that they get it.
Awesome. David, I have one more question for you. I know you guys mentioned that you were meditating prior to your cancer diagnosis, but I'm curious, how did your cancer experience shift how you practice meditation? I mean, yes, you have a whole app and all of that now, but is there anything you'd like to share about how that shifted?
Well, one of the things that we discovered is that I had started out as a transcendental meditator, which is like roughly 20 minutes twice a day. And that's the sort of classical model of meditation. What we discovered is that you don't have to do that to get similar benefits. And so we found that there are 60-second little exercises you can do. Some of them you could do standing in line at the pharmacy or even in your car that will shift you into that state of mindful presence. And if you do it regularly throughout the day, it can have a similar effect to meditating a couple of times a day. So that was a huge shift for us.
Mm-hmm.
And now we teach that in our workshops, and it's on the app as well.
Yeah, highly effective. Really cool stuff. I should have mentioned this before, but I literally have to be on a phone call with a client.
That's okay.
Like pretty much now. So I'm going to let David finish up, but thank you so much. I'm just so thrilled to be on Tour of Love for Chemo Buddies for Life, because what an amazing organization you've created, Tamara. It's just so needed, and it's just beautiful. So thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm grateful you were with us, Tamara. Thank you.
All right.
And you too, David.
Yes, Tamara, thanks. Yeah, we appreciate everything you're doing, and keep up the strong work.
Well, and you too. I remember having those discussions in the very beginning, and we're here together, and that it's full circle. I love it.
Awesome. Well, I know we are just about done with this. I want to remind everyone that tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific and midnight, we have Melissa Manchester coming on the Tour of Love.
Yep.
For everybody who's watching us in the morning, definitely come back in the evening if you're busy throughout the day.
Yeah, and we have another one that I believe has been confirmed at 6 o'clock. I don't see Barbara here right now, but at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, Larry Dunn of Earth, Wind, and Fire will be joining us also. So.
Wow.
Awesome.
You got to catch that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got some fun stuff coming up. We may even have some more people coming on that hour that could be like, so, but that one looks like it's pretty well confirmed. A lot of people joining us, and and I want to thank everybody that we've had so far quite a few #1 Billboard artists. We have an amazing voice out of the UK for the next hour that wrote an original anthem for the Tour of Love that will be premiering in its entirety and with its full version this next hour, and I'm excited that MJ's Raven, who we just saw her picture there, that she was able to the only woman Michael Jackson impersonator, and she is now gone on an international tour of love, and she has performed on it. I'm so proud of her, so proud.
Well, thank you so much for being here, David and Tamara. We just completed hour 22.
Woohoo! Now we're going into 23, but Ray, I don't know why we need another link for you, because Ray is in this one. We did have a bit of a snafu for 21 and 22. So see Barbara Beckley, and she'll give you the proper link. Okay. All right. See you in 23. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Tamara. Thanks, Kim.
We'll be, you know, we're in this together. The tour of love.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Rayon. Okay, she's going to. Okay.